First, I'm going to show you how to use the squared function on your calculator. So we know that we can square a number by just multiplying it by itself, but we can also use this x squared button. So here I'm going to do 5 and then hit the x squared button, enter, and I get 5 squared. Now this works particularly well if you have a number that's bigger than 5, you know, some sort of a repeating decimal or something. I'll do 5/7 because I know that that's a nice long repeating decimal. And if I want to square that number without hitting clear in my calculator, I'm going to leave this number in here and I'm going to hit this x squared button. And notice it says answer squared. So what that means is whatever the last answer was stored in the calculator, it's going to square that. And there we go. Now notice that right above the x squared, we have a square root function. It's above the button, which means I'm going to need to use this second button on my calculator. So I'm going to hit the second key, and that works kind of like a shift. That now instead of having x squared, it's going to give me square root. So now if I want to find the square root of 81, for example, I hit enter and I get 9. Notice that it gives us the beginning of a parenthesis. If we want to put the end of it on there, we can. Let's do the square root of 100. And I can put the end of my parentheses on there if I want to. I can also take the square root of a number that's saved in my calculator. So I'm going to use that same 5/7 again. And if I want to take the square root of that number, what I'm going to do is, without hitting clear, I'll leave that in my calculator. I'll do second and then that x squared, which gives me the square root. And then notice that above the negative sign, I have the same a and s that it showed me before. So I need to use my second key to access that a and s. And that just gives me the square root of whatever the last answer was in my calculator. So let me do one that you know. I'll do 5 times 20 to get an answer of 100. And now I'm going to do the square root of the last answer that I had, and I get 10. Our calculator can also find the cube root of a number. So we know that if we want 4 cubed, we could just do 4 times 4 times 4. And that's one way to get there. But we can also use this button that's right up above the x squared. It's this caret symbol. And what that does, if we hit 4 caret 3, that says I want 4 to the third power. 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. I can use that caret for any power. So if I wanted 4 to the 4th power, or 4 to the 5th power, it'll work for that too. I can also use a number that's already in my calculator as an answer. So here I have 1024. I can take that answer, a and s, I can take that number and take it to the third power if I want to. I get a nice long number there. All right, and then the last function that I'm going to show you is right up above the caret button. We have this x root. So with that, we're going to use that for the third root or the cube root of a number, but we could actually find any root. So notice that x root, there's a little x there where we would see a 3 if we were taking a cubed root. So what we need to do is first tell the calculator, what root are we looking for here? And in this case, we want the third root. So I'm going to first hit a 3, then I'm going to do the second and the caret where I get this x root. Now the 3 is telling me that x is equal to 3. So I want the third root of, let's do 125. And I get 5. Let's do that one more time. I want the third root of 64. Okay, and we can do that with numbers that are already in our calculator too. Let's say I do 8 times 8 equals 64. And now I want to find the cubed root of that number. I'm just going to leave it in my calculator without hitting clear. And I'll do 3 second caret to get the third root. And this time I want the third root of the answer that's already in my calculator. So I'm going to do second answer. And there I get the third root of 64.